Greetings, ghouls! Welcome to Deadsville Horror Talk. I'm your host, Ronin James, and as always, joined by the lovely Steph Infection.
Hi, Scream Hearts.
Tonight, we're going to talk and review the 2023 film, The Boogeyman, based on a 1973 short story by Stephen King. And we just went and saw this one recently in the theaters, the only place you can see it right now.
This is true.
And we had a good time.
Yeah, I was scared. Very scared.
Yeah, she's usually scared. But before we get into our review of the movie, a bit about us. I am Ronin James. I am a veteran stuntman and stunt coordinator, second unit director turned director and producer now on the Deadsville Rock and Roll Mysteries sitcom. I'm the creator of the Deadsville mythos and got some other shorts out there, and I'm still working actively in the film world as a stunt coordinator. Not so much a stuntman, but if you watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 or Gotham or what else? I was in both of those, and I fought Sylvester Stallone once, and I was the coordinator on a horror movie called Death House, which was my first experience working with Kane Hodder, who is now our puppet voice.
Yes, yes.
So all comes full circle. Yes. Steph Infection, my partner here, is a producer on Deadsville Rock and Roll Mysteries, as well as all of our content. She is a horror host and personality with us here at Deadsville, and dance choreographer, fear leader, music promoter, merch aficionado.
Yes.
Many, many hats for Steph Infection.
The list is ongoing for both of us, I think.
So welcome back, Steph Infection.
Thanks. Thanks for having me again.
Thanks for having me. I can't get rid of you. Anyway, so before we get into the show, make sure that if you're watching us on YouTube, that you hit that subscribe button and like and comment and all that fun stuff that helps our algorithm. We are also a podcast now, though, that you can listen to on Spotify and many other platforms. We're still getting our stuff out there, but our first 2 episodes are on Spotify and YouTube and a couple other
Apple
places. Apple Podcasts and I think Amazon, a few other places. So we're getting out there. We're new to the podcast game, but
but listen to us while you're driving or showering or.
Yeah, we're not new to the entertainment game. We've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
So we like to think we have some good insight on some of this stuff. Maybe some insight that others don't have. So who knows? If not, I usually make a jackass out of myself, so at least you have that.
Absolutely, always. It's good for that.
So what's up with the mailbag coming up, Steph Infection?
Oh, well, we are going to be featuring some of you. So if any of you out there in Deadsville fan world or listener world want to have an opinion, want to tell us something, have an opinion, have a comment on a movie that you know that we're going to be reviewing or something that we have reviewed, ask a question, ask something unrelated, ask one of us a question. We may pick your question, so what you have to do to get on this little podcast of ours is email your question or statement to deadsvillehorrortalk@gmail.com. And very easy. Just, I guess we'll put in the subject podcast or comment or anything. I think we're going to know what it is. Mailbag. That's it. Don't listen to what I say.
Mailbag in the subject line, so that we know that you're sending in for the segment we're going to call mailbag.
Good call, Ronan.
Yes.
I didn't think about that
feet like that
ahead of time. So mailbag will be the subject. Deadsvillehorrortalk@gmail.com. Send us, something.
Your questions, your comments, your ideas for future shows, what you want to see. We'll do lists. We'll do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Top 10s. We're going to have our top 10 list soon. Once we get a bunch of movies that we've watched for the year, we got to start compiling and giving our tops and all that stuff. So
make sure you include your name and your location, whatever you want us to shout out, on.
Yeah, if you're on Instagram, your Instagram handle or whatever you want us to shout out, put it in there. We'll read it and get all the fiends on board. All right, so let's get to it.
All right, so The Boogeyman.
Yeah, 2023, The Boogeyman, based on a 1973 Stephen King short story, which I have not read.
No, me neither. I don't really read, but you know.
I do. I have read a lot of Stephen King's stuff and short stories, but I haven't read The Boogeyman. Now, after watching the movie, I do want to go back and watch it.
Read it.
Do go back and read it. Yes,
Yeah.
I want to read it.
I just don't.
I'm curious how it compares to the movie, and because this was definitely a modern take on whatever was written back in 1973. But it's also should mention that it's PG-13, so it can be kind of introductory horror if you've got kids who are into horror or young teens that are into horror. Might want
make sure that they have they don't have weak hearts.
This probably wouldn't be the first one I would take them to, but it's definitely one that you can bring your kids to. I mean, it's got some grisly moments, but we'll get there.
Nothing else, nothing that they, I guess, can't see, but
no, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so give us that synopsis, Steph Infection.
All right, so here we go. The Boogeyman. High school student Sadie Harper and her younger sister Sawyer are still reeling from the recent death of their mother. They're not getting much support from their father, Will, a therapist who's dealing with his own intense pain. When a desperate patient unexpectedly shows up at their house seeking help, he leaves behind a terrifying supernatural entity that preys on families and feeds on the suffering of its victims.
Wow. All right. So we're going to do our first takes in a moment. But before that, we're going to review our writer, director, and cast in this this movie. So our writers, it was obviously based on a Stephen King short story, but the screenplay writers, Scott Beck and Brian Woods, they both
did A Quiet Place.
Did A Quiet Place, correct, yes. So, and they did Haunt as well, I see on there. And Haunt was a nice, fun, it's a haunted attraction feature.
That's right.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a fun one. I didn't realize that they wrote that. I knew that they wrote A Quiet Place, but I didn't realize that they wrote Haunt, too.
We watched it. Yes, I forgot about that.
Haunt was really good. So yeah, Scott Beck and Brian Woods, pretty good job. The other writer is Mark Heyman. Let's see what he has done.
Black Swan,
The Skeleton Twins, Strange Angel. Yeah, he probably did some touch-ups or something on it. It's a studio picture, so it's whatever. Oh, it's asking me to rate it right now. We're on a.
Then you got to sign in. Don't do it.
Oh,
there you go.
Geez.
Now I do it all the time. I do it every week.
I should have already been signed in.
Don't do it.
Stop asking me.
But so the director Rob Savage. I mean, I haven't seen anything that he was in or directed.
I have not either.
Yeah.
Both of his features before this, he's won awards. Both of his features before this were found footage movies, which I am not the fondest of.
Oh, I am.
But he did 2021's Dash Cam, which people really liked, and people said was really creepy.
Oh, I'll have to see
and
that.
in 2020, he directed a movie called Host, which was another kind of POV found footage thing. So this is his first feature where it's not POV, gimmicky, whatever, doing that kind of thing. And he's really kind of let loose to be more of a storyteller and spread his wings, if you will, because I find the POV stuff to be very restrictive as a storyteller. You're very limited by what your point of view is unless you're managed to you're in a building with all kinds of security cameras you could jump to piece stuff together and all that kind of stuff. It's very hard to to maintain that and really tell all the aspects of a story that you need to tell when you're doing that kind of thing. It's tricky. A lot of times I feel like they're done because budgetary restraints, because it's real easy to do something like that too.
What's the most famous trilogy with Paranormal Activity?
Yeah.
Those are like security cameras in the house, home movies and stuff, and they were kind of, I mean, obviously Blair Witch, but I feel like they were the first ones that I felt like actually captured like different rooms and different feelings and stuff. So
yeah, that was where we
there's
got our
ways to do
first
it,
kind of
yeah.
POV horror. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, but this one is a straight, you know, narrative film. So
a little different for him.
yeah, and he does really well with it. I mean, his direction's really good. I mean, because let's face it, and this is kind of getting into first takes, but this is a generic story that we've all heard before.
Oh yeah.
It's the Boogeyman. We're all told the story of the Boogeyman as a kid. So what this movie does well and shines is the direction and the characters and the acting and the characterization and stuff like that. So his direction is a big part of what helps
absolutely
keep you in this movie, you know, and really, there was only one real problem I had with the whole thing, like creative direction wise, and we'll get to that later when we hit Ronin's rants.
Oh, at the very end.
Stay tuned.
The very end.
But yeah, I think he does a great job.
He did a good job. Yeah.
He builds suspense really well. Yeah, great. Some good jump scares in there. I know people tend to think jump scares are kind of cheap, but you got to, you know, I had to mix some in there. You got to have some in there and get the heart going, get the blood pumping.
There was some crazy jump scares, but
yeah,
a decent cast also.
Oh, the cast I really enjoyed. That's where the two girls, the two stars, the co-stars of it. Sophie Thatcher, who's from Yellow Jackets,
which I haven't seen, but I hear great things.
Neither of us have watched. Yeah. It's on both of our lists.
Yeah.
And she's in that, which I didn't realize when I went and saw this. I didn't realize till I started doing my research afterwards.
Also in like the Boba Fett series or something.
Who? Sophie Thatcher was?
Is that?
No. Vivian Lyra Blair.
No. Hold on. I don't
want to hold on too long.
I know. Just keep going. Yeah, she was in the Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, the Book of Boba Fett. Huh. Oh, God.
So that's why I was...
Sophie, yes, she was in the Book of... Oh, no, she's one of those awful...
I didn't watch it.
She's one of the awful gang members in the Book of Boba Fett that rides the neon scooter speeders. Oh,
he's looking at me like I've seen this, and
no,
I can...
It's just... I'm sorry, it's just coming to me now.
So you're realizing.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh wow. Yep. Now, yeah, that's funny. God, wow, that's crazy. Then both of these girls have Star Wars ties.
That's
because Vivian Lyra Blair is young Princess Leia in the Ben Kenobi series, and which sucked. I hated it. It was awful. The Ben Kenobi series was fucking awful. I tried to watch it. I made it 2 episodes in and had to turn it off, mostly because of Vivian Lyra Blair, but not necessarily because of her acting, because it was so poorly written. The writing was so bad, so bad. I just couldn't take it. So I turned that off. Here, the writing for her character is excellent, and she is awesome. Man.
Yeah,
she does
really
a great job.
Yes.
She plays the stereotypical kid that the parents don't listen to, that's, you know, that sees the boogeyman first, and
she doesn't see it first.
I'm talking about Vivian Lyra Blair.
I'm sorry.
Talking about the young Leia.
Apologize.
Yeah, I'm talking about young Leia here. So young Leia is the first one that sees the boogeyman.
And you were a little nervous when you saw her. You were like, that was it.
Yes, I didn't realize it was her going in. Once I realized it was her, I was like, oh no, because Kenobi was so bad. But then when the movie started rolling along, she was really, really good. And I was like, wow. So she can actually act. It was just that bad of a script for Kenobi. And she was really, really solid. Really solid.
Is she a lot younger in that series?
She's a couple years younger. There's pictures of her you can see. It's in my... I got a second to plug. Go watch my 1-minute movie review of Boogeyman, because I have the picture of her as young Leia in there, and you'll see it was probably 2 years ago, I think. 2 or 3 years ago. So yeah, she's much younger, and probably not as good of an actress either. But the writing was so bad on that. But wow, that's crazy. Both of these actresses have Star Wars ties. The Force is strong with both of them. Nanu. I'm going to piss off all the nerds out there. Oh, I'm not even doing that right. Live long and nanu, nerds. I'm one of you. Don't send me angry hate mail.
Oh, great. Our first round of mailbag.
All right, so then we have as the dad, Chris Messina, who, he's good enough. I mean, his character is just kind of like...
He's in like different odd and ed, like little horror films and
You've
stuff.
seen him before?
No, I didn't. I just looked him
up,
list.
and he's been okay. And then but his acting's good enough. He plays like the disconnected dad who's kind of ignoring his kids, and that's what brings the boogeyman.
Yeah.
And then we had David Dasmalshin.
I don't know how to say it, but I've seen him in a million things.
He's been in a bunch of things.
He's in Suicide Squad and Dark Knight.
He was his part in the Suicide Squad was outstanding.
Yes.
I mean, him as Polka Dot Man in Suicide Squad was brilliant, and his demise very sad when he finally becomes a hero. Mom, I'm a hero. Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was one of Joker's thugs in The Dark Knight. I hated that movie too.
Oh yeah, and recently, you didn't watch this, but just a couple months ago, I watched The Boston Strangler, and he played the guy, the same, that they thought actually was the Boston Strangler, but he wasn't, and he died, like in real life, Albert something, I forget. But yeah, I like him.
Yeah, he's...
he played
we just also saw him when we watched the Shudder Chainsaw Awards.
Yeah, he was a host.
I'm sorry, the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards on Shudder. So if you watch that, and that's where we saw the first trailer for this too, with a little clip of his scene. They showed it, and his scene was pretty creepy. So
very creepy. He's not in the movie very long, but
no, but and that's there's more to the cast. We don't need to get into them all. That's
some Mean Girls,
Yep. They're all just kind of peripheral characters. That was our main three. So yeah, let's get to our first takes. Steph Infection.
All right, my first take.
We always make you go first.
I know, you do. Because you usually go on a little bit longer than me. My first take was that I thought it was scary as crap. And I wanted to scream. I wanted to jump out of my skin. The story, like we said, is just fine. It's just like a basic story. It was just the jump scares and how quickly things started happening, even though some audiences are saying the opposite, which I think is crazy. So overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was one of the scarier things that I've seen recently.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I really enjoyed it as well. I mean, it's a pretty standard, generic story that, like I said, we all know about the Boogeyman. We've all heard the story of the Boogeyman, the monster in the closet, the monster under the bed, hiding in the darkness, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's been done a million times, so we're not treading any new territory here. We're not breaking any ground, and they're definitely not doing anything different. But they do the basics really well, and the basics is to have decent characters that you care about, that you invest in, that you root for in your storyline. I mean, especially if your plot is going to be, as thin as, there's a monster in the closet, it follows people who've suffered trauma around and kind of, starts feeding on your fear and sadness. And, it's been done. We just saw it in Smile.
We just gave away what the monster's there for.
Well, that's the Boogeyman. That's what the...
I kind of would have liked a little bit more of a backstory on the monster.
Yeah, I guess, they want to save that for a sequel, maybe.
Maybe. Maybe.
Again, I mean, I would have to read the Stephen King story to know exactly what was the main intention. But
a summer read.
But no, I enjoyed it, and again, the direction was great. There was some good jump scares in there. It's a very dark movie, and by dark I mean shadows, very shadowy movie. He very low lit. There's a lot, because again we're and it's a creative choice that's made that obviously if you're trying to kind of let your audience feel what your characters are feeling as something's lurking in the darkness around you, then you want to have a dark movie. You want to have a dark, composition. So
it would not be a good idea for the movie theater to turn on the lights 20 minutes left in the movie.
That was, that was a bad experience.
That happened.
AMC Marple 10, bad on you, turning the lights on with 20 minutes left in the fucking movie. That was awful. But yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoyed it. Definitely would recommend it, and only have one major gripe with the whole thing, and we can get into that when we get into our spoilers and my ranting. Woo!
Oh yeah, here we go. Buckle up.
But yeah, I definitely recommend this one, and and if you're a fan of this kind of supernatural horror, you'll definitely dig it. It's got great moments and some great scares and really good characters, great acting. Good characters you root for. These two girls are very easy to root for and like because they're written very well and the actresses do a great job.
Yeah, I agree. I'm wondering though if it won't be as have the same people have the same experience seeing it at home. So I felt like I just feel like the loudness and
Yeah, the sound design does play a good. I'll give him. I don't know if that was the director's choice or if that was just who they brought in to do the sound design's decision. But the sound manipulates you into some of the scares, and like we're seeing this more. Smile did it too. That's another one where like you had they would even use sound to do like smash cuts to take you from one scene to the next, and it was just build that tension, boom, and then just it's very creative, and yeah, they did it here, and the audio and the score and everything works really well.
The only thing, not that we're doing trivia now, but the only thing I did read about them changing the sound is they said the initial screenings, people screamed so loud after certain like jump scares that they were missing the dialogue. So then they put a little bit more of a
time
lag between until they brought up with
interesting.
Yeah, with the dialogue.
Interesting.
And I screamed. I even heard you give a little at one point.
Hey man. There was a lot of people making noise in that thing.
Man.
We had a nice little audience in there.
Yeah.
And,
one lady snoring, but besides that.
Yeah. One guy down the aisle from us had light up sneakers on for some fucking reason.
I was like,
what
looking
the fuck is going on? Why your shoes keep lighting up? Turn your fucking shoes off, man.
I don't think you can. I don't think there's like a...
They're always supposed to light up when you step on them, though, I thought.
He was in the recliner. I don't know. Yeah, it was bizarre. They were like, it looked like a lava lamp.
Leave your light up sneakers at the door. Fuck, man. That was awful. All right. Anyway, let's dig deeper. It's spoiler time. So if you haven't seen The Boogeyman, now's the time to pause and go to the movie theater, watch the movie right this second, and then race back home and unpause the podcast. Right now.
So you want to start off with the opening scene, which I missed because
I'll start with the opening scene. Yes, because you
didn't have my popcorn ready.
Yeah. So the opening scene is we got a girl in a crib. She's one-ish maybe. She could talk and stuff, and she's standing up in her crib, put to bed, lights out, all that stuff, and.
I've never heard this yet, so I'm listening too.
And something in the closet clicks open and starts opening, creak, and no, that's right. The kid can't talk. It's like an infant, and the infant is like
because they said SIDS.
Yeah, it's just looking at the. It's standing up and it's looking at the closet, and then you start hearing a voice that kind of starts saying it's daddy, but it's like fucked up. It's like changing. It's like the vocal cords are like twisting and changing, and you kind of see glimpses of like something crawling out of the closet, and the baby, and then you hear, oh, it's daddy, honey, it's daddy, and she goes to the edge of the crib, and next thing you see, they cut to just blood splattering all over the wall, and
it's your favorite when they start off with a
child death. They mean business. So yeah, we get the right off the bat, boom, and then we go from there. We cut to meeting our psychiatrist dad. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was our opening. They killed a kid right off the bat.
Baby.
Yeah. But that's what the Boogeyman does. The Boogeyman kills kids.
Yeah, he does.
So that happens, and then we jump to our actual story, and it's the dad. We meet the therapist, and he's finishing up with a session with a client. The client leaves, and he has sessions in his house. And so this is when Lester Billingsworth shows up.
Well, first he takes the girls to school back to school for the first time.
Oh yeah,
so before Lester.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
It was like their first day back, and
yeah, because their mom had recently died.
Yes,
so yeah, we're into spoilers, so we can talk about that real quick.
Yeah,
that is a common theme nowadays.
Yeah, trauma.
In not only in movies, in everything. I mean, everything is about trauma. Everybody's had it. Everybody goes through it. Everybody's got some trauma. Everybody's got some PTSD. So I guess we're all just realizing it now. We're all just coming to grips with it. We're all learning how to cope with it. Mm-hmm. So it's in everything. It's everywhere you go. I can't log into social media without somebody having their trauma all over the place talking about it, or I can't. Everything is so everything is about trauma. And just like in what was the last movie we reviewed? The trauma, the Pope's Exorcist, the trauma of the dad dying.
Yeah.
And now this one's the trauma of the mom dying. I mean, there's always some trauma. Nobody ever just gets haunted anymore.
Disney always took parent deaths and made them go off it with happy endings.
Did they? I don't know.
Disney?
Does anybody not have trauma though and get haunted? I'm wondering. I mean, is that a thing? Can you not have trauma and be haunted? I don't know. I don't know if that's actually a thing.
I don't know. Well, it makes you weaker, is what they're.
Yeah, it makes you susceptible to it. That's what they say. But I mean, it's just becoming such a.
Well, it was just
trope.
Yeah.
Such a cliche for Hollywood to lean on now. Such a crutch for Hollywood to lean on.
But it's been even before that though, and even just in religion in general. If you had any, I guess any traumatic experiences that would get you closer to the other side in any way, near-death experiences.
Well, yeah, near-death experience is different. But now they're just saying anything, any kind of trauma,
yeah.
Like seeing, in this one, it's your mom died, and did they say how she died? I don't remember if they said, what did they say?
So this is the thing. She died in a car accident.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm going to bounce around really quickly right now, but they did not get attacked because their mom died. I mean, they did, but Lester saw that they had a death recently, so he felt comfortable going to the psychologist.
Right.
And then he brought the being there.
Right.
Later on, though, I feel like the girl was trying to conjure her mother back, and I was like, oh no, now we're getting into
that
crossing planes.
About that. Yeah. Interesting. But yeah, so Lester Billings here, our David Malchian, he's the father, it turns out, of the opening scene child who's killed, and he shows up at the father, Will Harper's house, because his medical practice is in his house, his office is in his house, and like we said, he's finished up with a patient. Will comes in, I need to talk to somebody, and he agrees to listen to him, and he tells him, I was accused of killing my kids, all three of my kids died, and And they said it was this, and it was a monster, and nobody believes me. And he kind of gives them the rundown, and
there's a picture. One of his oldest tried to draw it before they passed, and
yeah. The picture is a key that'll come in later. So he tears the picture out of this book and gives it to the doctor, and he's looking at it. And we don't see the picture yet. But then, of course, excuse me, I got to go to the bathroom. Doctor gets up and goes and calls 911, of course.
Yeah.
This guy's dangerous. And now he doesn't...
He did shut the closet before he left because the guy asked him to.
Yeah,
so then we cut to
closet,
Lester seeing the closet is
closet's
open.
open again. So now Lester's on the move. We didn't really get into the older sister, Sadie, goes to school, gets bullied and teased.
She's wearing her mother's dress. One of the girls spills something on her. Yeah,
it's she gets bullied and teased and goes home. Her dad doesn't realize she's home, so now she's home. And Lester, the crazy one, is now loose in the house because the closet was opened and he's on the run, trying to get away from the boogeyman. And yeah, he's.
We see him like behind shoulders, and then we see that. And then she hears in her mom's studio, I guess she was a painter, all this commotion. She goes in and all of her mother's, paintings are ripped and it's a mess. And she hears what sounded like a struggle in the closet and went in, and she finds Lester hanging on the back of the door.
Yep, he hung himself. Back of the door, inside their house. So, yep, more trauma. This poor girl just can't catch a break. She finds this dead dude back of the door. But, Lester had a hitchhiker. So, that night, right? So, I guess we should mention we meet Sawyer. Before this? When we first meet Sawyer has that globe. She has that moon, that light up moon.
Yeah, she's got a lot of glow, but
Sawyer's afraid of the dark.
Boogeyman does not. That closet scene is not until after, obviously, Lester brought it.
Yeah, Lester brought it. But
she's scared of the dark.
Sawyer's afraid of the dark.
Yeah, she has a lot of toys that.
She's got this glowing moon that she uses. Because remember, in the opening scene, or there's a scene before the Boogeyman's in the closet where she rolls the thing into the closet and there's nothing there. Yeah, she uses it's like a moon that lights up, a ball moon. Yeah. And she sleeps with it and holds it. And she uses that to look over to the closet, and there's nothing in the closet. It lights up the closet, so she's like, okay. And so now when Lester has unleashed this creature later that night, then we get the door open. We get right to it, right? We got right to the...
It was the most ridiculous. I was expecting, okay, first scene we're going to have this, like the door creaking, and it's going to be spooky.
Oh, that's right, yes.
So it's that night, and she's... First off, you just had a guy die in your house. I would be sleeping with my sister. I don't know.
Right.
We would not just be in separate rooms if I was that scared. She was already scared.
Well, Sawyer didn't see the dead body or anything.
No, but she pulled up on the bus when they were wheeling the body out, and then people were like,
True enough,
did your dad die too?
Yeah, that was a bit rough.
But she's under...
Kids are fucking mean.
I mean, yeah. So she makes her dad, she shuts the door, and the closet door, she's under the covers, and I don't know how it all happens. She starts hearing some noise, but that closet door just comes flying open, and this thing comes. I mean, I was not expecting it.
See a shadow shoot out.
Holy crap!
And go into her bed.
I was hiding in my chair.
And it was loud. I mean,
loud.
The audio was jacked way up on that one because they wanted you to. They wanted you to jump.
Oh my God!
It was good.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
I got it.
And they built the suspense up really because it got real quiet. Bye!
Oh my God! That just scared me again.
Yeah. So, that was good. And then the thing goes under the bed, and then she has the ball, and.
No, I don't know. First off, any kid would have gone running out of that room, or started screaming, Dad or Sadie, for their sister, it's screaming something. Yeah.
But she takes the light ball, goes underneath the bed, and rolls it under the bed, and the thing rolls, and you get the first look at our boogeyman, the face of the boogeyman, just for a split second, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Right? And then what? She falls out of bed or something, or what happens then?
She went and got her sister. Her sister thought she fell out of bed, and she said she was scared. Another creepy thing, when. So that night, she comes out and she's like, I fell out of bed, I have a loose tooth. So instead of, putting her back to bed, she decides to tie a string around her loose tooth. This is that night.
Sadie does.
Sadie ties it around Sawyer's.
Because that's what they did to her,
Yeah. And she puts it on the doorknob of her closet, okay? Now this kid, she kind of talks her, I guess, into very quickly, you had a bad dream, it wasn't real. And I don't know, I guess you're like, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Kid, maybe it works.
Maybe. But, so she goes 1, 2, and they're like joking, are you going to go in 3, or are you going to go 2? Well, the door just slams, that tooth comes out.
Yeah.
She starts crying. She thinks her sister did it. They don't realize. She thought, I don't know what happened. So now they're in bed together, I guess, she's trying to comfort her and go to sleep.
Yeah.
And the tooth gets sucked up on the string into the door.
Yeah.
Which we see later.
Yeah.
In a very gross.
Yeah, the tooth comes back to haunt them. Sadie was like she 1, 2, and then she just kind of stopped. And again, they do the audio with the bang of the door, and, to get you. But effectively using that, and the 1, 2, like that was another tactic for building up the tension, and then when they and then
because she goes wait, and and she's like okay, and she lets go of the door, and it just slams
bang on its own. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
So then where we go after that? We got the bully girls, and they come over to the house now to hang out, don't they? Isn't that?
So we kind of have like Sadie's like she's missing her mom, and she's trying to talk to her mother with the lighter, and she's sitting on
with a Ouija board, just like all teens. Checking out playing with that Ouija board, the gateway drug to witchcraft.
Yeah.
So she's messing with that.
She's upset. She keeps trying to talk. The ongoing thing throughout this movie is that she keeps trying to get her dad to talk to her about her mother, and he shuts it down every single time. Yeah,
it's made evident that she keeps trying to bring it up and trying to talk about it, and he keeps telling her, "Well, you're going to go talk to your own therapist."
Yeah,
and he's not seeing one. He's not dealing with it, but. It's very evident, and that's one of the themes of when the boogeyman comes is when parents aren't paying attention to their kids.
That
was like one of the.
That was something that Lester said.
Yeah. Lester points this out.
Yeah.
So, it was good. That was good stuff that they put in, worked into the lore. And Lester's book gets found at one point.
Oh yeah.
But before that, Sawyer sees it again, I think.
Well, I don't remember at what point this was, but it was very creepy. Was it after the? No, I don't know if it was after the tooth. She's laying in bed and she hears her sister come in. She's under the covers and she hears her go.
Yeah.
Hey Sawyer, sits down on the bed, blah blah blah. And then she goes, that wasn't nice, and pulls it off, and nobody's there. And I was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that part at all.
It starts messing with Sawyer. Yeah, that was good
really
too,
messing with her.
Because you don't, it's definitely, the door opens, closes, you hear her sit on the bed and all, and Sadie's voice, and spot on.
Yeah. And does she get like, something I think happens to her there, because she runs out and she goes to Sadie and she's like, that was a mean trick, and she kicks her.
We tell you, no idea what she's talking about. So then we have Sadie's slumber party, and she's having trouble adjusting, and was it her best friend the Asian girl.
Yeah.
I forget the character's name, but that's her best friend. She's friends with this one girl, and they hang
Bethany.
around with Bethany. Yes, Madison Who as Bethany. But they have like their little clique of mean girls that Bethany hangs out with, and some meaner than others. But
Cool.
they decide to have a slumber party and try to cheer Sadie up. And
Sadie just found a little joint of her mother's.
Yeah,
and a
we should
Zippo.
mention that.
So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
because it comes up later.
Yeah,
And-
the Zippo in the joint when she's looking through some old stuff
yeah.
from mom's.
And she starts coughing, and this is where the tooth comes back. She runs into the bathroom.
No, we don't go. You're jumping ahead.
No, I'm not. That's before the closet.
Oh, yeah, you're
sitting
right.
in
It is
the
before
room.
the closet. Yeah,
I knew
yeah,
that's
yeah,
where you're
yeah.
going,
Okay,
so.
all right. Yep, okay, you're right.
So they're getting along, even though these are all mean girls that she was just fighting with, and they're trying to
Sadie whips out that
smoke.
joint.
She smokes a little bit, and then she starts coughing. They call her a lightweight, whatever. She goes into the bathroom and coughs up, chokes up a string with that tooth on the end.
Yeah, that was a nice touch.
Yeah, so they come in, they're like, oh, you're a lightweight. We want to see the room that you know, the guy died. And she was like, I mean, she's trying to, I guess, just impress them in some way. So she says, okay.
Yeah, they're having fun. They're kind of being friendly with her, so she wants to be one of the gang. She wants to keep the party going. And, yeah, she
Goes up.
takes him to the closet and walks in, and they go...
Well, it appears that they shut the door and lock it.
Right.
And she's banging. And guess who shows up? The Boogeyman.
Yep.
And I think she's finally realizing.
She sees it for the first time. Yes.
She realizes that it's real.
Yep.
Can't get it open, but when she goes out, the girls were saying, it seemed like they were under the impression that she just wasn't opening the door for them, because they said, the one friend, Bethany,
said it was stuck.
She said it was stuck. We didn't lock it, we couldn't do anything. And Sadie smacks that real bratty,
Smacks the bitchy girl.
yeah, awful human being.
Yeah,
in the face. So they all leave.
Natalie was the shitty girl.
Oh.
Yes, Maddie Nichols as Natalie was our shitty girl.
And when she's leaving, when they're leaving, this is your favorite scene that will come up probably later when Sawyer's playing video games.
Yep. Yep, we'll get there.
Playing video games in the dark, and
Why are you giving it away already?
because we got to say how they end up at the hospital.
Oh, how do they end up at the hospital? I forget.
Because the Boogeyman comes and she's playing video games and she lays on the couch. And she's trying to hide. Well, long story short, the Boogeyman gets this little child and whams on the TV screen.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, throws her into the TV screen. Yep. I just when I think he's walked away and she looks up, but
Boom.
So yeah, we're gonna get into the rant. I might as well get it over with.
All right.
Because
Ronin's rant.
Because this is where it's the most egregious offense of the movie.
Yeah.
So I get that the creative choice and the creative direction here is to keep it dimly lit and darkly lit, and shadows to play with the mind and to keep the imagination guessing and to keep the mind kind of guessing and questioning what's going on. And I get it. But at some point, you've got to say to yourself, common sense got to override your creative, wants, and say to yourself, this girl's afraid of the dark. She's been multiply attacked by the Boogeyman in the dark. Why would she not be playing video games with every fucking light in the room on? This is what I don't understand. And it's a lot like the movie. Like we meet other characters. That we'll get to. We meet the other character of the was it the wife?
Yeah, of the other Lester's wife.
Of Lester's wife, yes, who also just has candles lit all over the place.
There's a reason for that. She said it.
What? What was the reason for the candles?
She said so she could see it coming because candles were the first She said candles, fire was the first light.
Original light, all right. But
yeah, so it was.
But then there was a scene where it just blew that shit out as when it was coming for them.
That's how she would see it coming down the hallway, walking.
Okay, so
she could see it.
It would blow the candles out.
But it wasn't just lights going out here and there. She could actually see where its legs were.
Right, but if your goal is to protect yourself and to be safe from a creature that lives in shadows and hides from the light, wouldn't you turn all the lights on? I mean, that's just common sense. Turn the fucking lights on. Especially this girl who sleeps with a giant globe that is a nightlight. Like, why would she be playing video games in the dark?
Yeah.
In the dark. In the dark!
I have to think that the reason...
I don't want to get too mad because I liked the movie. I really did. But that's just like the one, like, it irks the shit out of me. There's certain things, there's like certain creative choices that just go against common sense sometimes. And that one is just so common sense, it just kills me.
I have a feeling they picked that to put her in the dark because most people turn the lights off when they're playing video games. Well, you know, it's not unheard of to want to see the screen a little bit better and dim the lights around you. So I mean, maybe it was just...
It depends, sure. There are people that like playing video games in the dark, but how old would you say she was in the movie? 10? 8? An 8 to 10-year-old who's already afraid of the dark, probably not going to play video games in the dark. Like,
absolutely
that's my
not.
whole,
Yes,
that's my whole thing.
not.
Like, sure, somebody might play video games in the dark, but this particular 8-year-old who already is afraid of the dark and has been attacked now by a monster who we know and she knows comes out of the dark corners and closets would not be playing video games in the dark.
No.
It just would not happen.
Not a chance.
It just wouldn't happen. So it pulled me out, man. It took me out of it because I was just like, oh, why? This doesn't... Why? That wouldn't happen. She wouldn't do it. She just wouldn't do this. This wouldn't...
When I was growing up, when I would walk through my house, I would turn every light on my way and then turn them all off. And if I couldn't get to a switch, I would turn it on.
Yeah. I was a kid that was afraid of the dark, too. I know these things. And I know I would not play video games in the dark, even if I suspected there was a monster.
No.
This girl knew there was a monster.
Yeah.
And she turned off all the lights to play video games?
Yeah.
No, she didn't.
No.
I'm sorry, she didn't.
No.
All right, that's the end of my rant. Let's move on.
Well, she gets thrown into the TV for being an idiot. So, Dad, Sadie, they rush her to the hospital. Sadie gets a phone call from Lester's. Well, we did miss something. She did go to Lester's house to
this
get
is what
answers.
we mean. Yeah. She goes. Well, she finds the book. She finds Lester's book that fell underneath, and that's when she gets...
This is before her sleepover, though.
Yeah. There's we skipped over some stuff, but there's a point where when Lester came in, he tore the page out of the journal and gave it to the doctor, and then when he got up, when he noticed the closet was open, he must have dropped the journal, and it was underneath the couch. Mm-hmm. And Sadie finds the journal, and she's looking at what's in there, and she sees the page torn, and she does the old shading trick, and that's where we get our first look at our monster and what it actually looks like, kind of like a four-legged spider dude thingy with creepy finger teeth and raw.
I feel like
things
something we've seen before. It was actually
definitely,
definitely
it's like a little Cloverfield monster or something.
Yeah,
something like
similar to a lot of things I feel like we've seen.
Again,
but still creepy. We're like,
it was decent creature design, but it wasn't anything.
Totally different
or new or wowing or anything like that. It was good enough.
Yeah.
It served its purpose, just like this movie serves its purpose.
Mm-hmm.
She gets the book. She finds out the address, and she gets the friend to take her to
the house. 217 was the address, which I read was a nod to The Shining.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, we could throw some trivia and stuff in here along the way as well. That's cool. So, it goes, meets the ex-wife of Lester, well, the widow of Lester, I should say. And
she did write her name. The house looks like, nobody's lived in it in forever.
Yeah, murderers is scrawled in graffiti on the wall because the family was accused of, killing the kids because all the 3 kids died of mysterious circumstances and all that. And
so she writes, there's a dry erase board on the kitchen, the refrigerator, and she writes her name and phone number. So we needed that to know that she has her phone number.
Yep.
She does have a run-in with her
Yeah, she's got a
And-
gun, and she's pretty crazy, and
She gets freaked out and she runs.
well, she
in.
says that Lester, she was the girl, and
she was like,
get out, right? Because she
well,
was afraid
she's-
that she brought it back.
She was like, "Damn it, Lester!" Like she knew. She
Yeah,
knew that he brought it
That he
to
brought
them.
To them, yeah. So,
Um,
so yeah, then she hightails it out of there, but then later, now fast forward, now we get the call.
she gets the
from
call.
the
She's at the hospital, and she says, "I think I know how to kill it."
Kill it, yep. But I need your help.
Yeah.
Come down as soon as you can. Mm-hmm. So Sadie heads down.
Yeah.
And she got bamboozled.
Kind of. That she, is using her as bait because she kind of knocked her head into the wall and
I got this. Look
handcuffed.
over here. I got an idea. We're gonna do it. Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Gonna use you as bait. Stupid girl. Fell for that one.
There's candles everywhere on the floor, and there's shotguns like everywhere. She's got a shotgun, and there's, I don't know, some type of
She has a tripwire set up. It's like a kill room that she has. She's like Sarah Connored the shit out of this place. Like she's like the mom. The mom is like very gaunt and like, she's but like rugged and very like reminiscent of Sarah Connor.
Yeah,
Terminator.
actually, that's spot on.
Because she's like preparing to kill this thing, and now at this point,
Even in appearance, she does.
She's got she's got the kill room set up and the tripwires and everything. So when it comes for Sadie, it'll get fucking blasted.
And it does.
Yeah.
It does. And it's injured, and it's laying on the ground.
Yep.
So now this is, the point where I guess she doesn't uncuff Sadie. She goes up to check it.
Yeah, instead of just filling it full of shots.
She started
She did shoot it once or twice more, but she could have put a few more in.
Yeah, I mean, you could see it bleeding,
You knew what was coming, though. You knew.
Yeah.
You knew. As soon as she turned its back, right? Or did
I don't
she turn
remember.
her back on it?
This thing came back to life. And Sadie is now, she's handcuffed to a pipe. So she somehow breaks the pipe.
No, when she's blasting the thing,
yeah.
when it blasts the pipe.
That's right, okay.
Well, when it kills when it kills Sarah Connor. Kills Sarah Connor, the gun blasts the pipe. Luckily, blasts the pipe, and Sadie gets to get free.
So she gets out of there, she's upset. She gets a phone call from her father, and he says, "We're home. Where are you?" And she's like, "Don't go into the house." And we get a shot of the front of the house and him answering, and she's like, "Please believe me. Please believe me." And he goes, "Okay, I won't." And you could tell I'm not going to go in the house. She doesn't want me to go in the house. And they both get sucked into the house. Yeah. That was a cool little.
Yeah, it's just when Dad finally believes it's a little too late. He finally becomes a believer. Yeah, that was a good scene.
Yeah,
and then
she
we
starts
have
running.
Sadie running to the house, and she gets there, and Dad's nowhere to be found. She finds Sawyer in a closet, wrapped in Christmas lights.
She's smart.
Yep.
Now she's smart.
Yeah.
Now she's smart.
Now, now she didn't wrap herself in Christmas lights when she was playing video games.
No.
But now she's in the closet wrapped in motherfucking
And they're
Christmas
just
lights.
blinking on and off.
Red and green blinking on and off. Yeah. So then she
says it took Dad down the basement.
Yep. And she's gonna go get him.
Yeah. So they both end up going, and that was when
they fight the creature.
Yeah. Long story short.
And Sadie's this whole time, when we talked about the Ouija board, she's been talking about her mother being around, and she had this. They talk about her moving the flame to the left, and it's a candle, or it's the
she found her mom's Zippo.
The Zippo. Yeah. So at the end, they've got the gas everywhere, right? They're pouring gas all over.
It's like a polyurethane, I think.
It was like the turpentine.
That, yeah.
It was like the paint thinner from the mom's art studio.
Yeah, because the box falls over. Yeah.
So there's the paint thinner from the art studio, and did the dad get the broken leg before that? The dad was all fucked up. Yeah,
so
yeah,
when
the dad was fucked up.
Well, when they found him, he was being like held.
Yeah.
And he gets thrown He gets thrown by trying to like, I don't know, do something.
And he gets his leg broken.
I mean,
badly broken at one point. Doesn't Sawyer? It starts sucking Sawyer's fucking essence from her face. Not Sawyer, Sadie's at one point. Mm-hmm. Oh, and is that when the dad comes in and hits it, and that's when he gets knocked?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The end. I mean, that ending fight was pretty good. It was decent enough. Especially, I mean, it's tough when you got like CG monster going on, and he was pretty CG, right?
Yeah,
but it looked good. I mean, it looked good for CG. It was very good looking CG.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, it was
they probably had a practical
the weird
too.
thing, when it was sucking at her like soul or whatever, it was like the face, like the mouth opened up, and there was like another
face,
a
hand coming through,
and a hand,
and it was another face and opening up. Yeah, that was pretty fucking.
These are reasons, like, okay, and even though, like, with it getting hurt, like, able to get hurt, I just would like a little bit more of a backstory with what this creature is, why is it there, how can it get hurt?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
But it depends on, do you have time for it? That's the thing. I
get it.
I feel like this movie was perfectly timed.
It wasn't for that, yeah.
And there wasn't any real filler in there. It was all moving the story along. There wasn't any like shoehorned in stuff that didn't matter to the plot. I felt like everything helped move the plot along and pertained to the story they were telling. So I feel like
no, I know.
If we got too deep into the backstory of the creature, then we're taken away from the story of the girls.
It would have gotten too slow. I'm just curious.
Right.
Like,
and
who
again,
the hell is
you
this
might maybe
creature?
you go into another. Maybe we get a sequel. That could be a story for another sequel. Where did the boogeyman originate? What kills the boogeyman? How can you? I mean, in this one, obviously, the fire takes it out at the end.
So we think like her, her mom's spirit kind of comes back.
Yeah, because she's been trying to get her to move the flame to the left, and right before, she's trying to get she's getting the Zippo to light, and it doesn't light, maybe, or it lights and then goes to the
and that's when we're like game on, and she gets a spray at first before the can, and she's spraying, and it's hurt and it's on fire, but it's not enough, and then little Sawyer comes up with the can and just douses it with whatever it is, and she throws a Zippo.
Yep. And it goes up. And they grab Dad, and he hobbles out of there, and they get out. And that's how it.
And the whole house burns down.
Yep. Insurance will cover that.
Yeah.
But and then. So then we have our final scene where the whole family's in therapy together, seeing the girl's therapist, and even Dad is there, and Dad's finally opening up. They
go to leave.
Well, they go to leave, and off camera we hear
the
Dr. Weller say,
Sadie, can you come back in here for a minute?
Yeah. Sadie comes back in, and there's nobody in the room. And the closet's open.
Ajar.
And then Weller comes back in. Is there something? Did you forget something, honey? And she looks at the door and says, no, and shuts the door.
Yeah. So,
very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of leaves the door open.
Absolutely.
Kind of shuts it too, in case.
Yeah.
It was... that's the rundown. Those were the scenes, and, and it was a good time. It was a good movie.
Oh my gosh, I was literally sweating. I mean, I know I said this about Evil Dead Rise, but this one I was like, my ears were covered. I was squinting my eyes. I didn't want to see everything.
I wasn't as bad. I mean, I got the jump scares. I mean, I've seen a lot of these movies before, but these jump scares were still effective for me.
Oh my God.
And so now, like, especially these days, like, it takes a little more to get me to jump from a jump scare. So I appreciate the use of sound and the building up of the tension, and then the loud effects. And I like the way they're playing with sound nowadays in these movies, and really getting you to more than just visually grabbing you, but pulling you in with the sound, and then boom, hitting you with stuff and making you, making you jump a little more too. So probably not a new thing, but I think it's just something that I've noticed more in a lot more of the movies that we're watching this last couple years that we've been doing this. So very cool stuff. So let's do some trivia real quick. Well, one of the bits of trivia we can talk about is that this was originally slated to be on Hulu as a streaming release, but the initial screenings went out and it got such positive reviews, they decided to take it to the theaters and do a theatrical release. This is a 20th Century Studios production, and yeah, pretty cool. Intended for Hulu. I guess they learned after Prey. they you know, because Prey was one that people loved and raved about, and we were all just like, wow, this just went right to Hulu. You should have put this in the theaters.
Yeah.
I think they didn't want to make the same mistake twice, and they looked at this one. I think it's based on a Stephen King book. Let's do some test screeners.
I think it's hard too because people don't go to the movies like they used to. No. Everyone likes to watch movies in the comfort of their own home, but you don't get the same from it, especially with the horror films.
No, you don't get the same effect. You don't get the same intensity. You don't get the same feel that you do in the theater, especially if you see it with people and everybody's jumping and everybody's gasping and you know, all kind of feeling the same vibes together.
Yeah, even with comedies, laughing and stuff. Yeah, everything's infectious.
Yeah, and this one was definitely one worth seeing in the theater, especially because of the music and the sound design. It all plays into it. I mean, you're not going to have your sound up loud enough, and TVs nowadays have like sound thresholds and stuff where they'll cap your sound at a certain level, so you might not get those big jumps that you get in the theater. So yeah, I mean, it's just great to have horror movies in the theater, and if people really want to see them, they go out and see them. And this one did in the box office. Let's take a look real quick because it is right here. So it was released alongside Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which obviously was going to win the box office. Nobody's beating a Spider-Man movie, animated or not. But projected to gross $15 million from 3,200 theaters, made $4.8 on its first day, debut on $12.4 million on its opening weekend, finishing third behind The Little Mermaid and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So that's not bad, man. Yeah, I mean... You're a horror movie, and you're finishing third behind two of the biggest children's franchises in history. I mean, Spider-Man is one of the biggest franchises ever, and The Little Mermaid's easily one of the biggest Disney franchises, despite the controversy over the skin color of the mermaid these days. People are ridiculous, but... different video for that one. But yeah, for a horror movie to jump in there at third is great, man. Yeah. To be right there among them. So good move by 20th Century to take this off of Hulu first and put it out in theaters.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll go on Hulu.
That's what I suspect now. Once it finishes its theatrical run, it's going to wind up on Hulu, I'm sure. So you'll be able to watch it. But I would say don't wait for it to come to Hulu. Go see it in the theater so that you get that great sound experience. Definitely.
Take the time.
So yeah, another little, do you have any besides my other trivia?
Well, I gave a few throughout, but the YouTube video on how to contact the dead that Sadie was watching, it references the director's previous film, Host 2020, with the same location and actress of that film. So it was like, he was giving himself a little nod. The video was from that movie. Yeah. So I thought that I like little things like that.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, here it's all over. As soon as I.
What did you type?
The Boogeyman lightsaber. Duh.
I didn't type.
I mean, so I just discovered this story, very interesting. I'm going to read a little bit more of it as I get here now. But apparently, the Boogeyman writers put an homage to Star Wars in their script. And I don't know if this was, maybe it'll be in this story, but I don't know if it was because they had two actresses and Princess Leia in there or not, but
I have a feeling that's exactly why.
Our young actress Sawyer was supposed to fight the shadow monster with a toy lightsaber.
Which makes sense because she had all these glowing toys in her room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, there's a few stories about this on the internet. Apparently, Disney objected to them using a lightsaber in the episode, and they had to remove it. Even though Disney, which also owns 20th Century Studios, the company that made the Boogeyman, they did not want them. Let's see, here we go.
I feel like people have fought things, like different movies have used lightsabers.
Sure, but okay, so here we go. Answering a question about the moon ball that Blair's character actually has in the movie, Savage said this. It's a real thing that you can buy from Amazon, so we bought a few of them, cracked them open, and put a light inside that we could control and dial up and down. But the interesting thing about that, especially with the Princess Leia of it all, was that in the original script, she had a toy In the original script, she had a toy lightsaber instead of a moon ball that she would hold close to her bed. That's what I used to sleep with as a kid.
Oh.
And the whole idea was that it was a knockoff lightsaber that started to fritz out when the creature was near and eventually shattered. That's pretty cool. Continuing his quote, and Disney, in all fairness, didn't want an image in the movie of a young Princess Leia with a shitty knockoff lightsaber fritzing out in her hand. So they said no, that we had to come up with something else. And so me and the production team desperately searched for kids' toys that glow. And we found the moon ball, we thought would be a great prop, and rewrote the scenes. Ended up being some of the scariest, best scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah,
since
that
Disney
does make sense.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I didn't realize that it was going to be like a fritzing out lightsaber. But I mean, it should fritz out when the thing gets close.
Well,
it's like an advanced warning.
Disney didn't want her
mechanism.
image with that.
Yeah,
I get that.
I get it. Because then people are going to take it and make memes out of it and put her all over the place with the fritzing out lightsaber and be
so
like,
many,
when Darth Vader shows up and you need a Snickers bar or some shit like that, some dumb fucking meme shit like that. The internet will run wild with that shit. The internet ruins good shit. But yeah, the glowing ball though, that did wind up working probably better because you're not going to roll the lightsaber underneath the bed and get that jump scare of the creature.
No. And that
was
sounds
really
like
great.
they were happier with. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really great happy accident, I guess you would say.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah,
that's cool though. I thought that moon ball was something I figured it was something you could actually buy.
There are similar things.
They put the light in it themselves. Now, if a company was smart,
they would them.
Put the fucking light in it themselves. Whoever makes that moon ball should put the fucking light in it and market that shit.
I feel like there's similar.
Stay safe from the boogeyman, kids. Get your light up moon ball.
Oh, great. Are we making
And then
this?
show them the movie.
Yes.
At 6.
Yes.
I don't like kids. Movie kids are okay.
Best advice. Movie kids.
Yeah.
You hate the kids in all the movies.
Oh yeah, I know. Especially, but I get to go home after an hour and a half. I don't have to deal with it. So I only have to deal with them for an hour and a half. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and sometimes when they die and I can cheer, that's even better.
It's your favorite. It's your favorite. We had one. Yeah. Something else to watch. Oh, well.
Yeah, we'll get it out another time.
Anyway.
All right, so I guess that's about it. Let's give our final thoughts here. What was your...
my final thoughts are, like we said, if you weren't listening to us this entire hour or so, whatever, go see it in the theater. It's scary. Jump scares are like insane. Story, don't worry about the story too much, even though I feel like we do, like we said, like we get to know enough of the family to care about them, but it makes sense. There's nothing too dragged out. There's nothing, that you're kind of like angry that happened or scratching your head why that happened. It kind of just goes through it quick. What is it, an hour and a half?
Yeah. Hour and a half.
Yeah. So I loved it. I thought it was great. I'll recommend it to anyone. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I recommend it. I recommend go see it in the theater. Support horror in the theaters so that they keep putting them there. Show, because that's the only way we're going to keep getting them, and we're going to get bigger budgets to make these movies, and studios are going to take chances on movies and stuff, is if we go and show them with our dollars at the theater that we want this stuff out there, and we don't want some of this rehashed crap that they keep giving
Just going to say, not another,
But yeah, I mean, the sound, the direction, the acting was amazing. This is nothing new. This isn't, they're not creating some creature. It's the Boogeyman, man. It's a basic story about the Boogeyman, but what they do well is the character development and the acting and the directing and the scares. Like, everything works and everything falls into place really well and makes a really fun ride. It's a really fun ride if you're a horror fan and you dig this kind of stuff. So, highly recommend it.
Yeah, I find myself getting so scared at these things. I'm like, why do I put myself through this? Because I love it. Because I love it.
I wish I got that scared more. I wish I got more of those scares.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, once again, if you have not subscribed or followed or wherever you are listening or watching us right now, make sure you do. Make sure you comment or like or message or email the mailbag
At deadsvillehorrortalk@gmail.com. Subject, mailbag.
Yeah. And that's MAIL bag, not MALE bag. Just in case people were wondering.
I think I'll take either.
I'll bet you will, Steph Infection. Oh! All right. All right, folks. That's it. Send us some messages. Let us know what we should watch next.
Yes.
Send us pictures of your collections, cool shirts, anything like that. If you notice, we got some cool shirts we're rocking this week.
Yeah.
Ghostface Film Club, Goosebumps. That's a cool shirt you got there, Steph Infection.
Thanks again, Ronin.
Yeah, Ronin comes up with all the good wardrobe choices for episodes, huh? Woo! All right, until next time, stay spooky, fiends.
Bye, Scream Hearts.